trying to be kind of conservative with how I set stuff up because the material quality. See, that side's better and that side's punctated. Now, in theory, pressure should do much better on this than percussion, by the way. But I'm still a little bit wide to get much power into it and much like length or anything with pressure. So I'm going to hang in a little bit longer here and see what I can get away with. Hang. Yeah, that one rolled out. See, that just hinged out. Didn't do what I wanted. That one ran short, hinged. See that? You see how hard I'm hitting it, and the edges are failing and the flakes are running short, hinging. Might need to stop doing this and start trying aggressive pressure. Because you don't want to hinge your stuff all the way around it or you're going to be stuck. Yeah. Let's try pressure and see what happens. Where's my... We're going to try it two ways, of course. We will try it... Should we try it on leather first, or should we try it on a notch pad first? I'll take a flake on leather. One of the big issues here is when you start getting on into the thing and you start reducing your mass and you get thinner flakes, then they don't hold together like that right there. See? Came down here and it broke. And it just, you know, there's plenty of pressure in it. The angle was good. It was pushing in fine, but then it just broke. And it did that just because so far, I guess, people ain't learned to glue structures together Or maybe they don't want to, I don't know, but it definitely ain't cemented like shirt. And these are breaking, but they're going a pretty good ways before they're breaking. And so, and you can try going a little bit obliquely. You can go a little steeper and feather them out in the air and then just come on in and get close to the issue before you go flat with them. Whatever you think gives you the best odds of getting the shape you want. I wonder what would happen if I just tried to flute the crap out of that with indirect. Hang on. I can't imagine this is going to work. The other thing is when you abrade heavily on this kind of material, it just rounds off. So if you're not careful, you end up getting sort of the wrong angle too. You get it. It's more of a square edge type angle. See, I got kind of a little ridge there. We're just goofing around. That's all. Gonna hold it together tightly, stretching leather across the face of it. And we're gonna put pressure on both ends of it. But I didn't want to get high speed, so I just kind of dropped it on it. Okay, you ready? See what it did? Look at that, it ran all the way down to there and cleaned up all that mess. So yeah, you can flute a highway marker button. What I said was, I set the platform up carefully. I made it strong. I kind of polished it. Finally abraded it. And I stretched the leather across tight so that if the flake broke, which I assumed it would continue to push. And then I held tightly to the punch with this leg, and I pushed tightly against that with that. So I already had loaded up pressure, and then I just sort of dropped. But I didn't try and get too fast with the billet drop. I was looking for as much push as I could get. Without getting too much shock. Crap. It just breaks. When it comes up against anything, you know, it doesn't take much. So I need to come on in more, narrow it. Not try and shoot stuff all the way across. Come in more, narrow it. And then attack things from close up. So keep it a little bit steep and not go too far with the flakes. Almost like you will the first series on like a slab kind of thing where you're flat and you know you don't have a good optimal surface, so you're just sort of trying to ease into things. Now you might be asking yourself, hey, how come he's doing this? He could be making a nice point out of nice material. Wouldn't be as interesting to me. Every pressure flake is different. The angle, the force, whether you help them release or just let them release on their own. Whether you try and push them straight in or obliquely, that affects the run. Depends on the contours you have to start with. Yeah, this is definitely unfriendly material though. I just thought of another interesting analogy. Working this kind of crap, what you want to do, it's almost like if you were trying to land on an ultra short runway in between mountains. You get in close and set everything up just absolutely perfect on your final approach. And then get with it, you know, just make it all happen at the last minute. No, I have no idea what I'm talking about. That's a problem area. I still got to get in closer to attack it though. So I'm coming on in. I tell people, hey, work different materials. One of the major factors in whether or not you win on a deal like this is how familiar you are with the characteristics of the material and how accurately you predict what you can get away with. Because like right about now, you're like, hey, that spot right there, what do I need to get that off? Well, if all you've ever worked is obsidian, you got no idea. If all you've ever worked is Georgetown, you got no idea. If you've worked enough analogs of this kind of material, flake tensile strength and stuff like that, you're like, well, okay, I need to come in, a quarter inch more or whatever, or get at a certain angle of steepness to be able to undercut that. And, you know, it's a judgment call based on your previous experience. But the more I look at this rock, the more I'm like, what the heck am I doing? I am not trying to take super thin shots at all. I'm pretty much wanting to have a bit of thickness, a strong platform and a bit of thickness for every flake, because I figure it'll just break if I don't. Alright, so I'm going to go up to this end. Oh, I just thought of another good analogy. It's like when you're thinking about whether you can jump across a ditch full of mud or water. Will you make it? Tough stuff, y'all. I'm coming on in. Go back.